I did this video, this promo video. I did 2 different promo videos for Parker for me coming up and speaking. And I was so proud of this one that I did. I was like, babe, talking to my wife, babe, I went back, they need another video. I banged it out and then, send it off to them and everything, went back to adjust some patience. It was fantastic. And she looks at the video, and as she's looking at the video, she starts dying laughing. I was like, what is it? She was like, you didn't already send this, do you? I was like, yeah, I already sent it. What's the deal? She was like, the way the lighting is, your hair looks like gray and white, and like your little part of your hair, because of the sheen and your beard and everything looks white. Like you look old, and she's laughing at me. Like she's saying it with love, right? It's like, get over it. That's the big thing, right? Like that's the big thing. Don't worry about that side of it. Your message won't always be perfect. It won't always be exactly the way you want it to say. It won't always be exactly the way you want it to hear it to come out, right? But what is that important message that you want to get? Everybody tries to get it so perfect, and that perfection punishes everything else. That perfection punishes your production. So it's like, don't worry about it. Just keep going, keep doing it. It'll get better as you go on. Just keep working through it, and just be okay with that. Be okay with, we always say like, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. And we learn from our failures, and we're going to fail faster. But when it comes down to it, we look at it and we go, oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like the way, those things looked or sounded or said. And I bet right now there's a lot of docs right there that have done a lot of video, and it's all stored on their phone and just sitting there. And they're like, oh, it's not ready yet. I'm not ready to put that one out. That one, I said this weird, and I didn't like the way that I did this. And that one didn't look really clean. Or just do it. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So today I have Dr. Vidan from Vidan Family Chiropractic on today. And I'm super pumped about this because he is probably the most prolific content creator. And in that regard, he's also been very successful on social media. And I think a lot of doctors struggle with that. So I wanted to bring him on and pick his brain a little bit for what his process is, what his mindset is like, and how he's able to find success with social media. And just a little bit of background, if you don't know who Dr. Vidan is, which I'm sure aren't many people, but he was the St. Louis Cardinals chiropractor in 2011 when they won the World Series that year, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you have been on the news in St. Louis and I think maybe around the country, but St. Louis for sure.
Yeah, and nationally, worldwide. Yeah,
nationally. Yeah, and he's been traveling around the world. I've seen him in Amsterdam, China. He had his face on the bus in China. He's spoken on the stage at Parker. Yep. So he's been everywhere, and he is, like I said, he's prolific content creator, and I'm sure he didn't start off that way. He probably had to get into it and kind of understand that like it is something that's important. How did you, I guess that's my first question, right? How did you go from a new doctor who might not have, I mean, you could have been good at the business side from the beginning, but how did you go from that new doctor to realizing that it's important to create content for your practice?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for the intro. I appreciate that. And it has been a process. And when I started off in practice, I was not like just automatically got the business side or anything like that. I was like, I thought I did, but then I soon realized like, I don't know anything about what I should know about or anything like this. Right. And the business side of it, right. Like the care side got that, but the other stuff, there was a steep learning curve. So that took some time, but as far as you said, like the mindset of going from, because, I've been in practice now 18, we're going on 19 years. And at that time, doing things like video and all that was it was a big ordeal, right? So the only option you had was to be on the news. And the only option really to get your distribution that you wanted to get. Now, the way that they have it, it's, you can do that and you can do other things too, but we can do it all the time, right? I mean, we've got this, it makes it too easy now, right? We've got all these platforms. But the headspace that I found for it was the easiest thing for me to think was to not make it about me. And that's kind of like the easiest way that I could get to is if I don't make it about me, I make it about that person that I'm speaking to, that person that I'm trying to reach. That's where it all comes down to for me. And just sharing the message. And I will tell you, there's plenty of times where I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stood like that. Or I can't believe, you see that with my neck, right? Oh, I hate that. Right. Whatever it is, right? My hair looks so
Yeah.
stupid right there.
I love that the just the giving, right? It's not about you. It's about providing like value and like reaching people who actually need it. Right. And is that kind of how you got started with the like realizing that it was important, is just like that people needed to hear this? And that's like, what was the first video that you created online? Do you remember what that
I
video
don't
was?
remember. I don't
Okay.
remember it. I can remember like a group of them, but not like the first one. But I can tell you, number one, I definitely did that thing where I shot video and I was like, oh, we're gonna hold on to that one. But I'm not quite ready to put that out and all those kind of things. So that's why I'm saying I've been there. Just do it anyway. Just go ahead. And just learn from those. They're okay. If you go back and look at my old videos on YouTube and stuff, they are terrible. Terrible. I'm like standing there and I'm like, this is a spine. And it's just so awkward and weird. And it's me talking, but it just doesn't quite translate the same way. And I think that's the big thing too, is like each one of those iterations of all of that is part of growth. And it's how we go, okay, I like this, I don't like that. I like how this other person does it this way and how this other person says it like that. And so I'm going to kind of morph that and make it my own thing. And I'm going to be working through that until it gets nice and smooth. But the more practice I get, the better I'm going to be. And then the more people I get to help. And that's really what it comes down to for me. I'm like, the reason I got into doing all this is because I want to help more people. And I know if I can do that, then I'm going to impact more lives. And if I can impact more lives, then I can help more people live the life they want to live. And it's like all those things. And eventually that comes back around to me. And I'm cool with all that too,
Right.
So it's like, all right, good. This is all going to work. Let's just go. Let's keep doing it.
Definitely. Yeah. It's the saying, I think it's from what Zig Ziglar is, if you like help enough people get what they want, then you'll get what you want.
Yep.
Something like that. I probably did it, but it might not be from Zig Ziglar, but anyway, that concept. So do you have any like last thing about kind of the mindset when you're talking to the camera? I think it's like, at least for me, and I think a lot of doctors too, you like think about, okay, I'm filming this for an ad or for social media. And when they're looking at the camera, they see a sea of people in front of them and they just get nervous, Do you have any like mindset tips or anything for how to like, do you talk about to one person? Do you talk to like someone that you know well, or like, how do you think about like who you're communicating to? And like, how do you
I find that the easiest thing to do is, so let's say we're using our phone, have whoever it is that's videoing, have it down here. So you can see them, right? Like I can look them in the eye. That's the way I started doing it. I'm like, if you're standing there, then I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you and they're just recording, right? Or they can have it here or whatever it is, right? But I think it's easier to have it here. So you're just looking at their eyes, right? So that's like a tactical move there, right? Just have the person recording it. They've got you and you're looking at each other's eyes. So you're just talking to them like you're having a conversation. Because right now I'm looking into a camera, right? You're both just like you are, right? Now I'm looking at you on the screen and now I'm looking at the camera, right? Like you can see the difference.
True.
And so it's, if I just stay looking at the camera, or if I look just over the camera, if I stay there the whole time, it doesn't look that different. And so I think that's probably a big thing too, is look at the person behind you and talk to them behind the camera, talk to them, talk to that person. That makes it an easier conversation when you're starting off, especially. And I do find that it's easier if you have like an individual in mind that you're speaking to, I'm talking to this patient that came in earlier in my mind because I want to let them know this message. And so when you're starting off, I find that that's much easier to kind of build from and then go, okay, I'm talking to him or her. So because someone's going to resonate with that. And as long as it really is you speaking, then it's going to resonate.
Right. And if you're talking to one person, there's other people out there who could use that same message, right?
A whole lot.
Or suffering from the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. Great. So now we've covered the mindset, and then I wanted to talk about also like once you have that down and you've kind of created your first videos, you're getting comfortable with it. How then do you stay consistent like year after year? Because you've been creating content for probably over a decade now.
Yep.
What what are the tools and systems that you have to stay consistent?
I would say number one is probably the first thing I would say is give yourself grace on being okay with the fact that you might not always be as consistent as you want to be. But I can't tell you how many times I was writing down, like, I am creating X number of pieces of content per day or per week or whatever it is. And it took me a while before I actually started coming true to fruition with that. So give yourself some grace on that, but make it an action item that you're actually going to do. Because really, I do feel like and I'll just say this, there is no better time than right now to get started with doing all that stuff, because it's only going to get bigger and it's only going to get more. It's not like this is just going away. We've all seen that. So you might as well be part of what's going on, and your message might as well be one that's out there helping more people to understand what's going on. So there's that. The consistency then came from, at first it was more of a, hey, look, so-and-so's coming in today. I would like to video them. And I would grab one of my team members. I would kind of show them what I wanted them to do and how to do it. And it was always kind of a work in progress. And then they started to get it more. But as we're busy, like, we're busy through the day. Like, we get to help a lot of patients, right? And so it's hard for me to pull another team member away from another one of their duties to be able to go, let me film you doing whatever it is, right? Because we've got these other things that have to happen too. So as that starts to happen and you're at those prime times where you can't pull away, you can't have somebody else pulled away, we then started moving into having somebody else coming in, half a day and just shooting for us. And they would just shoot for us, and then they would edit it up. I told them what I'm looking for. They would edit that up, and then they would say, here's the deliverables, right? So they take it all, they put it all in there and have it all set for me. So I tell them what kind of content I'm looking for, what kind of things I want, and they make it happen.
Gotcha. Okay. So I have a couple follow-up questions. First, just something that popped in my mind is when you said, like, okay, yeah, the patient's coming in and we're going to film this patient.
Yeah.
How do you make that patient feel comfortable, or like with filming? Do you have like only patients that you know? Yeah. Do you have patients that you know would feel comfortable, and then others that you say, okay, let's not do it for them, or something like that? Or like, how do you do that?
So the first thing that I do is I'll ask them ahead of time. I'll say, they'll tell me something, right? So they'll say something like, man, I've had great success. I've told this person and that person, blah, blah, blah. It's just been great. I'll ask them, would you mind doing me a favor? And I kind of pause like that too. It's kind of the same thing every time. So, would you do me a favor? Would you mind, like, we're trying to get more social media going and doing videos and stuff. Would you mind if the next time that you come in, we do a video and just video me adjusting you and just kind of us talking and all that? And they're kind of hesitant at first because I started doing this a long time ago. Now they're kind of like, yeah, sure. They're like used to it now, right?
Mhm.
But they're like, yeah, oh, I'll do that. Yeah, okay. Because then they can have their hair ready or their whatever, right? Like, they can be wearing the outfit they want to wear, whatever that is. And so, okay, cool. So next time they come in, it's just really relaxed, and we'll just kind of talk to them. Hey, we're just going to do this. We will edit it. Don't worry. If you say something that sounds like you don't like that, or you said something that just sounded weird, or I say something and I'll do that too, or I say something that sounds, we're going to take that part out, right? So we get right to the point, and we're just going to show it. And they're like, okay, cool. As soon as you say that, they're like, okay, good. All right. So we don't have to worry about that. Yeah. In fact, you don't even have to look at the camera. Just us, we're going to talk. And that's it. Most people are totally cool with it as long as they don't have to look at the camera and talk and give dialogue to the camera. And again, I would do, as I was filming, I would have my team have it to where the camera's down here or down here, however it is you're gonna shoot it, right? So down here like this. So they're looking at the person, not at the camera. So my team member is going to be looking here and shooting. And if they have anything to say, they'll just kind of look at the team member and do that. So those are the things that I like to give them ahead of time, just as don't worry, we're going to edit out that stuff. We're going to make it look good because we want it to look good for you, and we're going to make it look good for us too. So everybody wins here, and they're like, okay, cool. Like, we don't want it to look bad. That wouldn't be good for us either. So, and everybody gets that, like, oh, okay, cool. All right. Yeah, let's do this. So,
yeah. And then it's just like a normal interaction, right?
It's a normal interaction.
You're documenting it. You're not embellishing anything. It's just how, yeah.
And then I'll just ask them, I'll tell them, hey, I'm going to ask you these like 3 questions, right? And before you started with us, how long had you had the problem? Like, what was going on and all that kind of stuff? And then I'll ask you, how are you doing now? right? What have you been noticing now? And then I'll say, you know, and what kind of things have you gotten back to being able to do now? And I'll ask them those kind of things. And I'll just say, these are the 3 questions I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
And so that kind of tees it up. So it'll be like this, like we're just having a conversation. I'm usually kind of standing like this. And I kind of just, so when you started and you came in, tell us what that was like. Like, how long had you been having the problem? What was the problem? And they'll usually just go into, oh my gosh, I had headaches for like 2 decades. I had tried everything. Or maybe they don't even, I had headaches forever. It was horrible, blah, blah, blah. Had you tried anything else before coming to see us? Oh yeah, I tried everything. I tried this, I tried that, I tried blah, 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 right? I'm just trying to lead them into them having the conversation so that they'll then say all the words, right? And I don't want it to be me talking. I want it to be them talking in this kind of dialogue like that we're doing.
Right.
And then it'll just be, okay. And they'll ask those other questions to follow up. And then it's like, all right, well, let's get you adjusted. And then we film them getting adjusted and all that. So that was kind of our style of doing it before, where it was more interview style. Now it's like you said, it's more straight up documentary style, where it's, I'm talking to a patient while they're getting adjusted. You know, my camera guy's there just doing his thing, shooting and everything like that. And then it's done. So if I was starting out, I would still start out that same way as what I was doing before. Because it's just a lot easier, like, it's smooth.
Right. Have like a couple questions that they're prepared to ask or answer. And okay, cool. And then in terms of having the person come in, let's say you're at that next stage where you really want to just, you're rocking and rolling. You don't have time during the day to, you know, take a team member away. Yeah. How did you find this guy? What's the process like that you took? And even like, how much do you pay him? What's the compensation like? And what's that process like for him?
So I've had a couple people now. And here's the reason that I've had a couple people. It's because we use college students, right? And so for us, using college students, it's like, all right, they're going to graduate and they're going to go, hey, you're my friend and you're in the same thing as me. You want this gig? It's a pretty easy gig. I go in there, I shoot this video, I edit it up, and I Google Drive, drop it to them. It's pretty easy. It's an easy sell, you know? So that's it. You know, that's our secret sauce. So that's how it works.
So hopefully you're next to a college campus.
Yeah, hopefully you're next to a college campus.
Or even like high schoolers probably, right? Like
and I was gonna say high schoolers, of course. Yeah, they can do it too. So if my kids were more into that kind of thing, I would pull one of them and be like, hey, you want to come video for me? And edit it up and kind of that they understood it. All you need to do is just see that they kind of understand in general, because they all have their own style. Like if you look at some of my videos and some of my other ones, like my ones now, the style is a little different than it was before. And you've seen that because you've seen them. And so it's like, you can just tell there's a little bit of difference. And I tell them, I'm like, look, this is in general what I want, what I'm looking for. And then you take whatever creative, freedom that you want with that to make it look how you think is cool and is kind of put your artistic stamp on it. I'm good with that. Whatever that looks like, and they're like, all right, cool. So
that's awesome. Cause they're probably more in touch too about like what's working and what's popular with like, I mean, being a chiropractor, you're in it on a day-to-day basis. And I think if someone's like a college student, they're more probably, what's interesting to other people. So I think that, perfect. Okay.
I agree.
So what was your first, just real quick, what was your, like, how did you get the first college student? Or like, did you post it somewhere? Did you reach out to your network on Facebook and just make a post? Like,
What I did was I actually talked to my patients, and I ended up having a patient who actually interestingly enough, I had 3 patients that all do different things in film. 2 of them do documentaries here in St. Louis. They work on completely different things. They're not associated with each other. The third one he did documentaries in the past, and he does a lot of work with a large Fortune 1000 company that's here in St. Louis, and he does like all their stuff. And he does big name, like stuff with other big name people. So I just asked them, I was like, do you know anybody that does this? That I could, because I can't justify paying someone at that level to come and shoot I don't need that. That's overkill, right? And they understand that too. They're like, yeah, this wouldn't work for us doing it. How do we make that feasible, right? And so we came up with the idea about a college student, and they just reached out to a couple of their contacts. They said, hey, I know a couple of people at these colleges, and they have a whole filming thing. Let's see what they've got. I was like, all right, cool. And then it helps build their their resume too, right? And also on the other side, you know, for the college student, it's like, it makes it to where it's pretty easy money for them. They come in, they do their thing, they can edit it up and chop it up really quick. And then any things that I need to change, I'm like, hey, can you change this, modify that? I don't do that with a lot of stuff. Once we kind of have it down, we have it down. And I'll say, hey, now can we start to focus more here and focus more there? As in like, and when I say here or there, I mean like this kind of thing for this adjustment, or can you make sure that we get this more? I'm looking for more of this right now. Can you find that whenever we're here in the office? And they're like, yeah, cool, I'll look for that. So whatever that thing is, you know.
Right. Gotcha. Cool. And then do you have any tools that you use other than obviously the college kid?
Yeah.
It's not a tool, but so you have a college kid who comes in and films, and then what other things? I know you have some microphones that you use, right? What do you have that?
I've got, oh, that's not it, but they're in here somewhere. I've got these guys, these little, I love these. These are so easy. And actually, my videographer found this. It's just these Rode mics.
Yeah.
So, just a wireless Rode mic. You get a different attachment. You can actually connect it right to your phone. He takes it and connects it directly to his, you know, his camera, his rig, and everything like that. But super easy. Everybody always asks me, if you ever look at any of my videos, they're like, what is that thing on your watch? It's like this big block, you know. And everybody always asks, and I'm like, it's the thing that gives me my superpowers. I don't like to talk about it, you know, or I'm under house arrest. I don't like to put it on my ankle. I like to have it on my wrist, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's a microphone. It's because it's loud in the office and you can't hear everything. You can't hear the conversations. So my trick is I take one mic and I put it right here so you can hear everything I'm saying here. And I take the other mic, I put it on my wrist. That way, when I'm speaking, I stand like this and I kind of have my hand like, you know, you can't really see, but I kind of have my hand forward a little bit. So that it picks up everything they're saying too. And that way, when they're laid down on the table and everything, my hand is usually either, you know, somewhere near where they are. Whenever they're speaking, it picks up on the mic. So that way I don't have as much background noise, right? Because we have music playing, we have other docs, all that.
How do you feel about cracks? Does that help?
I think it depends on what your audience is looking for, you know. It always depends on what your audience is looking for. So you know, it's all right, what are they looking for? What do they want?
So having the mic there also helps with cracks.
I'm
not
certain that it does. That's not why I do it. I do it to pick up, because it's so loud in the office. Like you couldn't hear the background noise. It's just too much. So, and I don't like to be quiet. I like to have the energy, right? So I like all the other stuff going on, but that was the only way we can make it to where it really worked.
Makes sense. Cool. And you're just filming your regular patients then, because we're on the topic of cracks. I know there's people who get models and stuff to come in, and you know some docs who do that. Just wanted to pick your brain on that before we go on to the final topic here. What is your state of the chiropractic profession? And this is a controversial topic, but we're gonna touch base on it. So what is your thought of TikTok chiropractors, YouTube chiropractors? What are your
I'm going to say this. I say this literally with no judgment, because I understand what the idea is, right? So having the models come in, having the girls with, you know, the low cut, or the guys with their, you know, muscles or whatever it is, like, and all that stuff. And it's intentional to get eyeballs. I get that, right? And that's one part, right? The other part of me is like, it's just not that's not authentic to me, right? It's not that I don't ever have patients that come in from the gym or from yoga or whatever it is wearing that. It's just, when they do, they're usually covered up, or if they're wearing the jacket, they certainly don't unzip it to lay down when they're laid down on my table. You know, that's not the intention. And so I kind of look at it as, I get it. For me, it wouldn't be authentic to who I am, right? Like you see my stuff, right? It's like, it's me, my wife, my kids, you know, like that's who I am. And so that kind of thing wouldn't really be on brand for me. And it wouldn't be authentic to who I am, like really who I actually am. So I'm kind of like, well, if that's what's working for you, you do that. If that's what is gonna, you know, is on brand for you, cool. You know, I just would only ask, for me, like I would just say, my whole thing would be like, just make sure that it's real and it's authentic, because the views aren't worth what it would be on the other side if that's not really who you are. That's all.
Right.
You know?
Or you know, like there's people who say it's degrading the chiropractic profession or
Sure.
like devaluing it, right?
Yep. I can totally
Um,
see that too.
yeah.
But I also see this. So I also see that there's those times where it's like, hey, look, that's degrading the chiropractic profession. That's degrading what we do, all this kind of things. Well, I also understand that those people get more eyeballs. So do they get the chance to impact more lives? And I don't have the answer to that. I don't know. And I think that when we kind of say it from the high and mighty place of no, this is, you know, and that it's hard to say that because I don't know the flip side, because I don't know the backside of their books and what they do in the practice and what they actually do and the impact that they make. I just know what's authentic and real to me. And, you know, if it's something that's truly negative for the profession, then I think that it shouldn't be allowed to be done. I don't mean this, I just mean whatever it is, that it shouldn't be allowed to be done. If it's truly like that is truly a negative impact to the professional world.
Are you saying like legally or
any of those
just,
things? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So, because certainly there are things that people do that are legally wrong and they do them anyway. It's like, that's not good for the profession, you know.
Right.
That should be brought up to the ethics board, you know.
Right. So it's kind of up to you, up to the person, what they want to put out. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. And then just last question here, going a little over time, but what is your process like for like posting it and getting it out there? You know, we talked a little bit before we started what your process is like, and like you're currently still working on it, right?
Yep.
So
what do you
do right now, and what's your plan for the future, and what do you want to make happen there?
Yeah. So it's like we talked about a little bit of vulnerability there, and the idea that it's like, look, I'm still working through all these things on a regular basis to try to figure out like what's best for us and what's best for making that system work. And so we're using the Meta Business, right? The Meta Business page that you have through Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And you can do that on your Facebook as well as your Instagram. There are problems with it, but you can have a whole schedule to have everything worked out and have that done. I'm trying some other applications too, or I will be trying some other ones too, to see how that works. I've tried some other ones in the past and they were really lumpy for me.
Which ones?
What's that?
Which ones have you tried?
I tried a long time ago. And I'm going to say years ago, I tried Hootsuite. That one was just like, at that time, it was just real lumpy and hard. I've tried Later, and I like Later. The only thing that I didn't like about it is that Later, you can't, I couldn't invite you to be a collaborator, right? And that's the problem with on like Facebook and Instagram. I can't have, or on the Meta for it, I can't ask somebody to be a co-creator, right, on my Instagram whenever I post videos. So that's a problem. I don't know if there's other platforms that allow that.
Cloud Campaign, I know, is good. That's one I recommend. That's meant for like agencies, but if you use it, because it's meant for like an agency, it's pretty powerful, and you can add collaborators. And I think Canva has some functionality for that as well, but that's more of like graphics as opposed to videos, right? So I think those are the two that come to mind, top of mind right now.
What was the first one called?
Cloud Campaign.
Cloud Campaign.
Yeah. That's the one I typically recommend. It's pretty.
So, I mean, and really, we're just, like you said, we're just working on being consistent with all of it so that we can just keep on getting that message out there to more and more people and gain interest. And we're finding like, oh, this works really well on TikTok, and this one works really well on Reels, but it doesn't play out as well on Instagram or Facebook. And so it's like, well, I'm just going to keep on trying and keep on seeing what works and keep going. So that's it.
Gotcha. Okay. And are you writing the posts, or are you having someone else write them? Like
I write the copy too.
Write a copy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I do all that. So whenever I hear Doc say I don't have time to do all the things, I'm like, you actually do, because I have the time, you know, and we see a lot of patients every day, and I know that you can do it too. So you just
priority.
And I think that's the thing too. It's right there. It's like, instead of saying I don't have the time, say it's just not a priority right now. Right. If I change that, if I say I don't have the time, then that doesn't give me any of the control or the power or anything like that. Whereas if I say it's not a priority, then I say, well, I'm choosing to make other things priorities right now rather than this. And that helps me then go, okay, I actually do have control over this. It's just whether or not I really want to do it or not.
Yeah, it's your choice. It's your choice.
100%.
Cool. So where can people find you online if they want to stay in touch and follow along and learn, keep learning from you and what you're doing in terms of content creation and just chiropractic as a whole.
Yeah. You can connect with me online. That's probably the easiest way to do it, right? So social and everything else. So it's Dr. Alex Vidan. I'm on all the platforms as that. So that's an easy one. And you can always follow our Vidan Family Chiropractic page too. So this right here, you can see that, Vidan Family Chiropractic. So you can follow us there too. So Vidan Family Chiropractic, we're on there, you know, all the different platforms as well, other than TikTok for that one. So.
Okay. But you're on TikTok too. You're posting.
I'm on TikTok as Dr. Alex Vidan. I just didn't do an office one there. Yeah.
I can't imagine many chiropractors are going to be reaching out on TikTok.
I can't imagine that either.
Yeah, damning.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Are you still on the Chiropractic Business Club too? Are you just doing the is it cocktails and chiropractic?
Yeah.
Is that still going?
Yep. So we're doing that, and that's Dr. Bo Pierce and I. So Bo and I are doing that on Chiropractic Business Club. That's on Facebook. So come jump on there. Really, what that is that's just a group of people just saying, hey, these are the things that we're seeing as this is what's working for us. Or somebody asks a question, what do you do about this? And we're just like, here's answers from people. So it's kind of that group think and just sharing whatever we can to help other docs do what they want. And so, and be successful. And that's really
little entertaining too. Like get some cocktails and just talk chiropractic. Right.
Yep. We do that.
I've watched a couple of them and it's great information. So
thank you.
Highly recommend checking it out if you're watching.